In this video, we're going to talk about pedal order on the Headrush Pedalboard. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, and this concept can be used whether you're using analog pedals or this digital format like we have here in front of me. So with the Headrush Pedalboard, this is great because you can really move things around and experiment without having to make new cables, move physical pedals around, and really make a mess of your whole room just for experimenting. So that's one of the reasons why I really like digital, because it makes it so easy to just try new things. So what we're going to do, let's add in a few different pedals here. Let's go to modulation, let's do a chorus, and let's bring in a vibe phase, and let's bring in a rotary. All right, and let's go ahead and bring in some distortion, and let's bring in some reverb, and let's bring in some delay. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and play exactly what I have here on the screen, and let's use our ears and figure out what sounds the best in what position. All right, so check this out. Alright, so it's not sounding too great so far. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's turn off all the effects. Let's just work on it one by one. Alright, so here's our bass guitar sound. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on the reverb. Now, when you have a lot of gain on the amp, sometimes a reverb or a delay going into the front end of the amp can sound a little dirty. Because basically what you're doing is you're distorting a reverb or a delay. And that may not be what you want. It may be what you want. I'm not really sure. So let's just experiment and let's turn up the gain on this amp. And let's listen to the effect of the reverb either going into the front end of the amp or going after the amp. Alright, that's a sound. Let's listen to it after. Alright, so to me, that's a more appropriate sound for a reverb. But I think in shorter reverb decays, a distorted reverb can sound good for certain genres. Maybe for rockabilly, maybe some country, maybe some experimental ambient type stuff. You got to be the one that makes the call on that, okay? So for me, I like reverb after the amp, so I'm going to keep it there. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for our delay. Let's turn off the reverb just so we can hear what the delay sounds like. Okay, and let's really crank up this amp here. Alright, so you can already hear that the delay is sounding very crunchy, and let's move it after the amp. So it's kind of weird, isn't it? The delay before the amp was overemphasized, and with it after the amp, especially with the mix, up where I had it before on 68 or so, that the dry signal was actually less than the wet signal. So let's listen to it now with the mix down a little bit. Alright, so that's a little bit more even sounding. And for me, sometimes the delay can be around, 20 to 30% or so. Alright, that sounds good to me. Alright, let's check out an overdrive. So currently it's after the amp, and let's just see what happens. Alright, it's fine. It's a little fizzy sounding. Let's put it before the amp. Alright, that's much more preferred. Let's go after the amp again. Alright, that's great. I like that one. Alright, let's go black op after the amp. Once again, it sounds too fizzy and the volume just isn't there. Just bring it before the amp. Alright, there we go. So green JRC, black op, before the amp, definitely. Alright, let's try the chorus out. Alright, let's go ahead and clean up the amp a little bit more so you can hear it. Alright, very cool. To me, I really like chorus, tremolo, those type of effects after the amplifier. I just think they sound a lot better, but you can do whatever you want here. Alright, so let's go with the vibe phaser. There's just something with the phaser before an amp that really appeals to me. And what I just heard there after the amp was it kind of too compressed. It didn't really poke out and have any definition at all. So let's listen to it one more time after the amp. Alright, very cool. And I'm actually going to bypass the rotary and let's bring in an octave pedal. Alright, so let's bring in one octave down. And we have it set to 50% dry and wet and 50% octave. So let's listen to what the octave sounds like with it clean before and after the amp and also overdriven before and after the amp. So here's before the amp. Alright, not too bad. Let's listen to it with the black up on. And this is going to be after the black up, but before the amp. Alright, so for me, my personal taste, I like having octave and filter, wall, anything like that before any kind of dirt. Because what happens is the signal coming in is a clean signal and the octave needs to hear the cleanest signal possible so that way it can track the notes properly. And sometimes when it's after dirt, it doesn't track as well and it just doesn't sound as great. So let's bring in some filter stuff here. And I'll show you what that sounds like clean and then dirty. Okay, here's dirty. All right, let's bring it after the black op. And let's bring it after the amplifier. Yeah, it just doesn't work after the amp at all. So let's go back before the overdrive. So here's clean. And dirty. So I hope that helped you out a little bit in discovering some better placement for your pedals and really what sounds the best to you depending on where things are located in the rig. There's no really right or wrong, but you do kind of need to use your ears to determine what is the sound that you're going for. So thanks guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and click the bell so you'll be notified next time I release a video just like this. And in the meantime, I'm Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.